Hello Factorio people, welcome back to the broadcast from Space Age. We're on our way back from Fulgora, having done all of that. And it's going to be basically just a big old housekeeping episode. I played quite a lot over the weekend. I had some spare time, thankfully. So we're going to do a big old housekeeping phase on Nauvis and automate some stuff and efficientize some stuff. Efficientize, that's a word I just invented to make efficient. Efficientize some stuff. So if you want to do the old like, comment, subscribe for me, that would be great. And we'll jump straight into it, shall we? Okay, so long Fulgora. Thanks, it's been fun. That was genuine, that wasn't sarcasm. It's been fun. But we have to go back to Nauvis. We've got stuff we need to do. Mostly, we're going to try and bring back some electromagnetic plants to bolster circuit production, because we can put electromagnetic plants basically everywhere that we're going to make circuits. And oil is a continued problem. I can't believe that it's taken this long to realise that we're only on 5 basic crude oil pumps that have been going for this whole playthrough, which is currently sitting at about 40 hours. So that's 100 crude oil a second, and these plants will use 160. So that is obviously a problem, which is causing plastic to be a problem. We've probably not noticed for so long just because red circuits are always a bottleneck anyway. Look at this fiasco. And we can think about also maybe using foundries to get iron and copper into steel. I'm not a huge fan of that until you've got advanced asteroid processing, because you really want advanced asteroid processing to be able to just get calcite down from space from your science shuttle. Not science shuttle, sorry, science platform. But we can try something, and I have tried it, and I will tell you that it is, yeah, it's annoying, but we'll go through that. So let's get back to Nauvis, unload a whole bunch of cool cargo, some more drills, some more foundries, and we'll start on the housekeeping. We'll start on the housekeeping. So a very easy win, of course. Just plug this crude oil in, bring it over with a pipe, and plug it into the existing system. I put speed modules in the pumps. I always like to put speed modules in the pump. So this is now 2,445 crude oil a second, which is loads. And then we can also put modules in the oil refineries to speed that up as well. I'm a big fan of this system. You'll see the system a lot coming up, where you just put one speed module in and a few quality modules, and you end up with a faster machine that is also producing more because of the quality. And you often can find that you will not actually have to use any more resources. We'll explain a bit of that a bit more. Here's a very good example. Is this the asteroids? What? This is the advanced circuits. 2 words that both begin with A. Just pick one brain and pick the wrong one. Shame. If your speed module Mark IIs, which are all we have for now, we can craft them, but we need to do tungsten carbide and stuff, and it's not hugely important, to be honest with you. 20% extra speed for each one, but as you'll see, it's not hugely relevant. If you see that the speed is plus 30% on one of these, on a speed module Mark II, I've got my, remember to get my drawing thing out today, haha. Speed is plus 30%. But the productivity module Mark IIs give you 6% productivity but 10% minus speed. So with anything that's got 4 or more slots in, you can counteract this quite easily by just using a combination of the two. So putting one put alt mode back on, put one quality module in, lowers the crafting speed by 10%, but ups the productivity by 6%. These obviously already have 50% productivity, but so that just means that this bar is filling up 6% more on every craft. So the first craft will be 56%, the second craft will tip it over to 112%. So that just means that you're getting... Oh, my neighbours are continuing to do very loud housework, by the way. Oh, dearie me. Sorry if you can hear that. It's like their bathroom is right against my computer room, so it's like, yeah. Anyway, so if we put 3 quality modules in this, you'll see that the speed goes below over here in our special box over here. You'll see that our crafting speed goes to minus 30%, but then if we put the speed module in, that all levels out. So the speed is the same as this one, crafting speed too, but the productivity is now 68% rather than 50%. So that means... oh, wipe. So that means this machine will make half an advanced circuit a second. Let's do it per minute just to see. 30 a minute using 80 cables, 40 plastic and 40 green circuits, whereas this one uses exactly the same, but you get 33.6 a minute. Now obviously that is offset by the much higher energy consumption, 6.8 megawatts plus 240%, yikes. But we've got nuclear power, and we're not worrying too much about pollution and biases in this playthrough, so really this is a complete no-brainer. You could of course offset it with an efficiency module just in that last slot. So we can do that on basically all of these and get some nice gains, some sick gains, bro. And then we just also need to make sure that then that is enough. Well, we know it's enough copper wires because, as I say, we've not actually changed the input-output ratio in any meaningful way. We're just getting more free products. So that's nice. Can do the same with the purple circuits. What I still call purple circuits. If you don't know this in joke, right? The sprite for this used to be a lot more ambiguous as to what colour it was. In the same way that some people call them yellow assemblers and some people call them green assemblers. The sprite for this was very ambiguous. I'll bring a sprite of it up actually on the next wipe, so we can see. Anyway, so we'll do the same here, but for here what I like to do is I like to just fill it with prod modules, just because the speed is less important. Keeping the speed is less important. This ended up being more... that banging is actually going to drive me mental. It's Monday morning. Please, some of us have to pretend like we're working. This was more processing units in the same space as the older, remember the old one from all the way back from episode 5. This one, remember this one. Plus, also the EM plants have the benefit of being able to funnel the fluids through themselves, their input-outputs, so you can make it look a lot nicer. This is not in the blueprint book. Everything else I've done today is in the blueprint book, but this one isn't. Let me add this to the blueprint book for your delectation. I'll leave the pipe like this. Why not? Yeah, sure. And you can see I've added some efficiency modules in some beacons there for you. EM plants. What do I call them? Just call them EM processing units. There we go. Create blueprint. Add that to the book for you. Oh, I was calling them EM plant something. Couldn't remember whether I was putting the plant in or not. There we go. Stop banging, please. Spoilers there for what's about to come up for the rest of the episode if you're observant. I've added 2 extra rockets because with the productivity module Mark IIs, even launching 4 rockets, we only need 48 processing units a minute, and so all of this can keep up with that easily, this can keep up with that easily. Low density structures, that's the other one. This can keep up with that easily. So you can see the issue really is electronic circuits is not keeping up, and that's because I have not done that bit of it yet. Because we need to do a few other things first. So, more housekeeping. It's a housekeeping episode, folks, what can I say? That's green circuits then. Oh, something's a bit weird here, isn't it? Oh, what's going on? Sorry, I'm trying to get my... This is what... This is as good as I could get it to show you, folks. Top is the old sprite, the bottom is the current sprite. Literally screen capped from the game. This exact game of Factorio. Are they purple? Not really. But it was just a bit of a meme, everyone was calling them purple. Arguments, jets versus sharks, you know, oh, they're blue, they're purple, you know. Anyway, so that's that joke explained. Green circuits. It's a bit awkward, as you can see, because you can make copper cables in an EM plant as well, but the ratio is 1:1, so that's don't really get any benefit, like in terms of that. You can't make a mini bus system like you can with like engine units and red circuits, you know, where you have the copper cables going down the bus. And then at the default speeds, it takes exactly 5 to fill a red belt. So what happens here is that, if I get my drawing tool out again, what happens here is that this one loads onto this half of the belt, this one loads onto this half of the belt, these two load onto the other half of the belt, and then this one needs to... Wait, what's gone on here? Something's gone wrong! Something's gone wrong! Wait, back to the game, what's going on? This one is wrong, this one needs to load onto... Oh, that's why, yeah, no, sorry, I had it the other way around. This one loads onto this half of the belt, so does this one. This one and this one load onto the top half of the belt, and then this one side loads to whichever half of the belt is emptiest at the time. So that should then involve a full lane output of green circuits. But of course the problem is that this uses iron, and I've also changed the smelting setup to be the nice new efficient foundry smelting setup. But the problem with that is we need to get calcite in from Vulcanus. This is very small, very easy, very efficient. So this whole setup here uses 1.25 iron ore per second, but gives you an entire red belt of iron plates out. So you can see that that is extremely efficient. Same with the copper is the same ratio, and the steel is a slightly different ratio. You use 22.5 iron ore and you get a bit more, don't quite get a full belt of steel out, but that's why these have different module combinations in, just because they have slightly different ratios. So yeah, you do have to prod module. Well, I decided to prod module these, as I say. This will be less relevant when we start getting calcite in from above Nauvis, because currently the Vulcanus shuttle is asking for calcite. You can get 500 calcite in a rocket, so that's what we're doing. We're just waiting on that, which has involved a small tidy up of things on Vulcanus, because currently the calcite was just going into a chest over here. That's what this half of the thing was. There was like a... because the calcite for things like anything in the mall that needed calcite was just going over like that, cliff explosives. But if I'm asking for 500 at a time, I'm obviously not going to get the logistics robots to run the entire length of the base and back to bring calcite. That would be absurd. So Vulcanus is okay for the most part. I upped explosive production to keep up with cliff explosive production, because we're going to need a lot of cliff explosives when we expand Vulcanus for real. What's going on here? Simply do not know. But Vulcanus has been essentially the same since we left it. So the Vulcaner shuttle is in fact now on its way back, dropping the calcite off. This uses such a vanishingly small amount of calcite. 1.45 a second if it's running. So it should be okay. It should be okay. I'm also getting this to ferry belts and stuff around. I'm not dropping the belts off just yet because these only stack to 50 in a rocket, so this took a long time to load up. I just want it to be ready because I think when I go to Gleba I'm going to just have green belts there to start with. Yeah, so half a belt of iron ore, half a belt of calcite goes in. 2 belts of iron, 2 belts of copper, some steel, and then stone you have to continue to make in electric furnaces. So while I was here I tidied this up. Okay. I've not quite finished the job, clearly. And I think at one point I hooked the wrong lane up to the wrong thing. So steel was going into... Got the steel and the green circuit belts mixed up, which was extremely infuriating, but, you know. Okay, the other thing we want to do is we also want to move mining over to big miners now that we've got them, because they are, of course, very efficient. 50% resource drain, mining speed 2.5 versus 0.5, so yeah, they're extremely good. I still think I prefer my tileable big mining design from episode 9. It did occur to me that I could maybe do something like this that would leaves a gap on the outside for power. So like you could make it tileable like this in some way, but you would still have to then like send, because this power pole doesn't reach across at its current quality at least. So I suppose by that logic you could do basically what we have now, but it's powered by substations in the middle instead, and then you don't have to worry about having like two lanes of two lanes that then end up like being balanced, and this does at least work and fit, so it's a bit better. But these miners are so good that these 6 miners are more than half of a belt anyway, so you get like a vanishingly small. Eventually, you know, like you'll have a miner, 3 miners will basically do you half a belt of red, half a red belt of iron ore anyway. So I decide that this design, even though it looks a bit weird, and it needs this weird splitter thing in the middle to get the most out of it, it is actually totally fine. And then we've got the old utility blueprint here for just putting in 3 efficiency modules into each one, just because they are a bit power hungry. Yes, my inventory is full, I know, I'm a disaster. You don't have to tell me that, Factorio. Okay. Is the calcite gonna arrive at any point soon? Should have done. Here it is. So this is just hooked up to the cargo bay directly. Again, I could ferry the stuff around with the logistics bots, but this will take a little bit of a time to permeate, because like obviously this is quite a distance. So for each one of these belts you need 8 calcite to fill it up. So it's going to take a few trips for the calcite to permeate down, but that doesn't cause a huge issue once I upgrade all the inserters on these space platforms to be blue inserters, to be fast inserters, because you can see the problem is that we're travelling so fast and frequently that we are not able to empty the asteroid collectors out fast enough. This is also very slow, it turns out, if this needs to run at full tilt, which it does because we're shooting a lot of asteroids because we're travelling a lot. Basically all of the inserts should be blue. The reason they weren't blue to begin with is because I was worried about power, because this isn't a huge number of solar panels. But turns out it's fine, we're past that. So yeah, like this, we get a lot of metallic asteroids on the way to and from Vulcanus, and this yellow inserter just simply can't keep up with that. And this can't empty the iron ore out of this grinder fast enough to smelt iron plates. So that needs a quick fix, but that's obviously easily done. Yeah. Where are you all going? Oh, you're taking that iron and stuff out of my inventory. Right, so once we also fix this to make sure that we're getting a full belt of these things out, we should see that this is compressed, because this takes more than half a belt, so you need to do a priority output on this, and more than half a belt you need to do priority output on this. So if you go into the favourite debug mode and put in show gaps in tile in transport belts, transport line gaps, should see that eventually, once everything permeates down the bus, that these are all running and the transport belt is full. Here we go. I think we're there now. So the reason you do it like this, with the sort of like a buffer almost, this transport tile, there was a gap made it. This belt tile is a little buffer. This one's a much larger buffer. It's so that it has time to just drop into the space. All right, now we're there. I think now we're properly there. And we're just ploughing our way through some infinite researches. I'm not bothering to research Lightning Collector or Energy Shield Mark II or Tesla weapons right now. I'd rather spend my science packs on good things like processing unit productivity. Yeah, you see what's happening? They're queuing and they're waiting, so the very moment that there is an empty space in the belt, they can just drop in. I hope that makes sense. Alright, let's tidy up some more stuff. Get these miners done for this one, and this iron patch. I couldn't be bothered to wait for it to be fully empty. It's going to take a long time now that we're on using such a small amount. Like, I could even probably bring all of these red belts back, because this, you know, what we're using now in terms of iron ore is so small, 47.5 a second, and providing these are all plugged in, this will be 96 per second, 3.2 red belts, so some of the iron ore does need to go up here for concrete and things like that, but now that we've got the big miners, this one patch should last a long time. So I may just go and turn this off and get a refund on all of these belts, put these belts back into the system, use them to make blue belts or something like that. Lab Sushi is obviously continuing to work incredibly. Power is not a huge problem, but the main issue is that we are completely full on uranium-238, so we're not getting any more 235, and as such, uranium fuel cells will, in theory, run out, especially now that we're using a lot more power in the last couple of hours since we've plugged in the electromagnetic plants into the system. So let's try and sort some of those things out and continue housekeeping. I don't know, I quite like this design. It does look weird for sure with the two belts, like miners only essentially loading onto one side of the belt and needing to use a splitter, but I do quite like it. Drink of tea. I've just got logistics chests here bringing some of the copper that I accumulated in my pocket whilst I was doing all of this work and just loading them onto the side of the belt here just to get rid of them, Right. We encountered a problem on Factorio with recycling, because we've hit that point now where we're getting 20,000. 20,000 was what I set our limit for when we need to recycle something. And we were having a huge problem with the concrete, because, and I should have realised this really, that the recycling speed of an item is defined by how long it takes to craft. So this takes 10 seconds to make 10 concrete, so one concrete will recycle in 0.62 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. It is, when you consider the recycling speed of something extremely quick to make, like an iron gear wheel. 0.03 seconds, or even a steel bar is a bit too much, you know? 1 second to recycle a steel plate, like that's crazy. So this was very full of things because all of these were just ploughing their way very slowly through the concrete and the steel. There is a way around that, and you basically have to cheat. You have to realise that if you craft concrete into hazard concrete for free for just a bit of power, the hazard concrete recipe is 10 hazard concrete in 0.25 seconds, which makes its recycling speed 0.01. So you can turn the concrete into hazard concrete, which you can then just recycle. So these logistics chests are on Bring Me Concrete, and these inserters work when there is more than 15,000. So these are on like... This should be the primary way to recycle the concrete, and I should have realised that. Should have realised that that was going to cause a problem. I honestly didn't think it would. With 2 rows of recyclers, I thought that we would be okay. And then the same with the steel chests. It takes only half a second to turn 8 steel plates into a steel chest. And as such, the steel chest only takes 0.03 seconds to recycle 8 steel plates, which is crazy. I'm also starting to make quality modules just because I know that we're going to have to think about it at some point, so I'm just going to start making some tier 3 quality modules, because as far as I understand it, the best way to go is to just make some quality modules, use those quality modules to make better quality modules, and then put those better quality modules into processes to start making quality items. So we're going to just start with this. We'll just start by making tier 3 quality items. We'll start backlogging some uncommon and rare quality modules. We can't get full quality until we go to Aquilo anyway. We need epic, Clever to get epic, and Aquilo to get legendary. So then we'll probably be ready. But it also might be worth eventually just putting quality modules into this to just get better steel chests, because you can get higher capacity with a steel chest, and then obviously you can use that as an ingredient to make bigger capacity logistic storage as well. Other than that, Fulgora is ticking along nicely. No complaints. I don't think. Ice is still a shortage, but I think once we... Oh yeah, that's the other small thing I did, is I just put this to output into a purple chest and then store the science directly by the rocket, just to make sure it was all in one place and things like that. Yeah, right. Coverex, the Factorio developer, whose name is lended to the Coverex enrichment process. With it, you can turn uranium-235 and 238 into more uranium-235. 235 is the good one, the shiny one. In Factorio 1.0, 1.1, there was a lot of rigmarole around doing Coverex enrichment efficiently, because of the inherent nature of how any machine works, is that it will always try and load more. Let's take this and take this. An inserter will always try and load more into the machine than one cycle. But for Coverex, that's kind of annoying. Coverex is really the only recipe where that is very annoying, because you want as many... For every centrifuge you have doing this process, the more of your dull uranium you can turn into shiny uranium. 1 a minute. Extra. It's free energy, basically. It's free energy. This process is extremely powerful. Overpowered, almost. So there was a lot of designs that you could find about Coverex. Oh, this is how you make Coverex, because, yeah, let me show you. If you put this in here and this in here, this will just continue. This will load the uranium to 40, but then it will continue to load even more uranium. I don't even have that much. Don't even have enough to prove my point here. But the point is you want this 32 into this one to keep, to start the process. So it's very difficult before to get the circuit network to do things like that because we didn't have all of the tools that we have now. And before it was just set it and forget it. Yeah, this one will be full. But as soon as there's, what would it be? It'd be loads. Is the thing is 40 disappears as soon as the process starts, and it would load another 80 at least. Thankfully, we have an extremely good way to do this now because you can created the first rare quality module at 43 hours, 1 minute and 43 seconds. Does anyone want to see my milestones page? Like, I made a big deal of installing the milestones mod when I first started, and I haven't really shown much of it off. I'm still yet to kill a biter. There's your proof. Had to kill a demolisher, obviously, but I'm yet to kill a biter. There we go. That's just... the drilling continues next door. Yes, we can now attach a centrifuge to anything, the circuit network, and we can get it to do... the most important one is read working. Outputs the signal if the machine is working. So I've come up with this absolutely foolproof, lossless Covarex design, which looks like this. I'm just going to put this here. This will request some of your uranium-238 from the logistics. This doesn't even need to go here necessarily, but I'm going to put it here just so that all the centrifuges are next to each other. Oh, the drilling! The drilling! Maybe you can't hear it. No, you can. You can. I can see on my OBS that when they're drilling, the sound is spiking. Let me pause the recording. Okay, I think they're done for now. If we hook the centrifuge up to... oh, you're joking me! Alright, I'm just going to have to power through this, I think. Because it's not stopping. And every time I unpause, it starts again. In classic fashion. Right. If we attach the centrifuge to the circuit network and attach it to the inserter, we can set a control signal for when the machine is working. And if we make that control signal uranium-235, then on the inserter we can blacklist as a filter. Ignore this one. This one was my testing and didn't work. So if we set the filter and blacklist the signal that's coming in, you can blacklist the inserter from picking up any more 235 as soon as the machines start working. So we don't care about the 238, that's got thousands of that doesn't really matter. But if we drop a whole bunch of 235 on the belts, we will see that as soon as the machine fires up, this will now no longer pick up any more uranium. There's a bit of overflow here, and that's probably because I'm using a stack inserter. Stack size of 12, what's the recipe? 40. So I guess if you make the stack size 10 instead. Let me just copy and paste that setting all the way down. So any excess uranium will go... this doesn't quite work because it's not always going to pick up 10 in one go, but this will get better as the belt gets more and more full. So the excess 33 is actually overflowed into the next one. The output goes like this, just side load it so that half of it, the stuff you want, goes on one side, the other half goes on the other side. Put it in a box so that when the belt is full, the boxes start stockpiling. And that is immediately broken because it's not picking it up fast enough. That's funny, that worked in my... it's these stack inserters. I think I changed them to stack inserters at the last minute, thinking that would be better, and it's obviously not better. I was really hoping that you wouldn't need to babysit this at all, but you may need to babysit it just at the very, very, very beginning, just by maybe, like, not having more than one centrifuge down. or by just having more 235 to kickstart the process is probably a better idea. Obviously what I've done here with this system is not very good. Need more storage for this. And then I will move the uranium fuel cell production over here, just so that it actually doesn't, it's not reliant on this box or this box to work. It's, yeah. So this one is working with no spare uranium-235 in it, this one has 33 in it, this one probably has a touch, yeah. So maybe just start with 2. Maybe just start with 2, get rid of these 4 until you're ready. In fact, let me demonstrate that in the blueprint as well. There we go. So then this is fine. I suppose these inserters might pick up. Yeah, let's just get rid of all of it. Just get rid of all of it. There we go. So there's extra space there to copy and paste another 2 sets down, which when they're all working at least will net you 10 uranium a minute, which is 100 fuel cells a minute, which is like a ridiculous number. Like, that's so much uranium fuel. If you use that much uranium fuel before you get fusion power, then I think maybe something's gone wrong, or you're doing a nuclear fuel only challenge, which is, again, not even really a challenge. And then the other circuit condition is just a simple box that outputs uranium-238 onto the belt and then doesn't feed onto the belt if there's more than a certain amount, which is not really strictly relevant, to be honest with you. Like, you could just get rid of this and this belt will just become full and then this will fill in the gaps. But, you know, it's nice to not have too much uranium-238 flying around, I suppose, if you don't really need it. Of course, the Coverx process only needs 5 uranium, so don't need to go mad with it. This one has stopped with 5 in the bank. Maybe make this 5 instead. Don't actually know if that will achieve much. It worked very well when it was fast inserters, just because they can only pick up 3 at a time anyway. Yeah. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Anyway, so that's Coverx. It's very, it's much easier now in 2.0, basically. Right, I've been waffling on for ages. Okay. Let me skip forward a bit and see what else got done. Nothing got done. So I actually went to Gleba, if you can believe it. And I made a save point in a decent time. Obviously the episode is far too long to do anything meaningful here, but I'd be remiss if I didn't at least land and show you. Gleba! Hooray! Yeah, so Nauvis is ticking over. The Coverx enrichment process has permeated down to at least the first 4 inserters, so that's all good. I've stopped. Obviously, you have to remove the request for uranium-238 here until, because otherwise the logistics bots come and try and steal it out of these boxes before you're ready. But as long as you've got a decent backlog of uranium fuel cells, which we do, we have so many. There's still 92 in the logistics storage. We just, you know, don't use any power. The Vulcaner shuttle is taking me to Gleba because I am going to bring, as I say, I'm going to bring transport belts, big mining drills and stuff with me. But you can see that it is still ploughing its way through the calcite, even though it's not using a huge amount. The toing and froing from Vulcanus to Nauvis is causing a bit of an issue. But that's okay. I think after a couple more levels of, probably just after this physical projectile damage, we will just stop science production and the ships will be fine, because we're going to, once we've done on Gleba, we're going to do a big redesign of the ships and we'll do platforms to get calcite everywhere that we need it, so on and so forth. So, I hate to leave you on a cliffhanger, but we'll drop all the relevant stuff, we'll send the ship back to Vulcanus, and next time we will get started. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more broadcasts from Space Age, be sure to subscribe. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.